Example, 8x squared plus 30x minus 27 is equal to 0. I don't see a GCF. So here we go. We're going to have a minus 27, which means this 8x is going to be 8x plus something, 8x minus something. So we're going to go find our somethings right now. So by rule, what two things multiply to be AC, which is 8 times negative 27, and subtract to be 30 because it's a minus or different. So one of my factors has to be bigger than 30. So now since 30 is even and 8's even, we know we have two even numbers. So I break down my 8 to 4 times 2. My 27 is 9 times 3, but don't break the 9 down to more 3's because that extra 3 is going to have to be multiplied to one of the two numbers. So we'll leave it as 9 and 3. So we need to build two possibilities. 4 and 2 have to be isolated, and the 9 and a 3 have to match up with the 4 and 2. So we could try 4 and 9, then 2 and 3, and then switch the 3 and the 9 around. So 36 and 6, 12 or 18. Remember, we're subtracting to get to 30, so we needed a number bigger than 30, so it's 36 and 6. These two do add up to be 30. That'd be great if this was a plus sign, but it's not. So 36, that'll be the positive because 30 is positive. 6 will be the negative. So we'll take the 36, put it in the plus blank, put the 6 in the minus blank. And now, normally you can take out your GCFs, but here's a shortcut. To save time, because you're setting this equal to 0, it doesn't matter if you take out the GCF or not. You will take out the GCF within the work. So if I subtract over, oh wait, let's back up. The GCF here between 8 and 36 would be a 4. So now watch where the 4 is removed. Subtract over the 36, divide by 8, but then you reduce this fraction by 4. That's where the GCF of 4 has been removed. So negative 9 halves. 8x minus 6 equals 0. Add over the 6. Divide over the 8. There's a GCF of 2, but 6 over 8 reduces by 2. That's where I removed my GCF. There's my two answers, negative 9 halves and 3/4. All right, so here we have x to the third, which means we're going to have three possible answers. Remember, x squared, two answers. X cubed, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. I don't see a GCF, so we're cutting this in half. GCF of the left side is an x squared with a 2x plus 3. That means this 2x plus 3 must be over here on the right. To make that GCF work, negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. Negative 8 divided by 2 on our x's is negative 4. There's my GCF. The 2x plus 3's, they come out together as the first one. X squared and the minus 4 becomes, wait a minute, that's my second binomial. That's a difference of perfect squares, so it factors one more time. So 2x plus 3 equals 0, so we subtract over the 3, we divide over the 2. X plus 2 means x equals negative 2. X minus 2 means x equals positive 2. There's my three answers. All right, my next example, wait a minute. It's already factored. Oh, dang, but it's not equal to 0. So it doesn't look like this problem equal to 0. Okay, so what we have to do, I can't take x plus 3 and set it equal to 9. We don't have a 9 product rule. Oh, dang. Sorry, we have to FOIL this out so we can get this set equal to 0. So once we FOIL it out, combine like terms, we'll subtract over the 9. So let's see, that's 2x squared minus 1x, 3 times 2x plus 6x, 3 times negative 1 minus 3. Okay, now it's time to subtract over the 9 to the 3. Makes that a minus 12. My minus 1x plus 6x becomes a positive 5x. And now we factor. Okay, so let's see. Minus 12, that means 1 plus 1 minus. Use that 2 twice. 2x plus something, 2x minus something equals 0. What two things multiply to be AC? 2 times negative 12. And where middle term is going to add up to 5. Wait a minute, that's odd. So break out the odd from the 12, 4 and 3. Isolate the 3. 4 times 2 is 8. There you have it. 8 minus 3 is 5. So the 3 will be the negative. The 8 will be the positive because it's a positive 5. 8 goes in the plus blank. 3 goes in the minus blank. set them equal to 0 and solve. We'll subtract over the 8, divide by 2. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. There's one answer. 2x minus 3, add over the 3, divide by 2, x equals 3 halves. There's my two answers. Whoop. Next example, same situation. It's not equal to 0. So we have to FOIL this. X squared. X times 4 is plus 4x minus 3x. Negative 3 times 4 is minus 12. So now we have 4x minus 3x is 1x. But then I subtract the 5x over. That's going to make a minus 4x. So 4x minus 3x minus the 5x when you move it over gives me a minus 4x. Now we factor. All right, x plus something, x minus something. My 12 is minus. What two numbers multiply to be 12 and subtract to be 4? I'm looking at 6 and 2, and the 6 will be my minus sign. So x equals 6, x equals 2 after you change the signs. There's my two answers. All right, word problems. My word problems have to be quadratic. So I have to somehow build an x squared. So what we're going to see in our word problems is we're going to see problems that start out like this. A lot of area problems. Length times width equals some area number. We have to FOIL it out, set it equal to 0, and solve it. All right, so Wooden Works Limited builds cutting boards that are twice as long as they are wide. Okay, twice as long and wide. That means your cutting boards are rectangular, length and width. Build a rectangle. All right, label it length and width because we had length and wide, or long and wide, however you want to say it. The most popular board that Wooden Works makes has an area of 800 centimeters squared. Okay, length times width, that's my area. Now, because it said the board has twice as long as it is wide, we know nothing about how wide it is, keep the W, but the length is twice that of the width, so we're going to write 2W. So when I write my formula length times width, I'm going to take out the capital L and put in a 2W in its place, and then we'll put the 800 in for the area. So 2W times W, that's going to be 2W squared equals 800. And we'll subtract over the 800 so it's equal to 0. Let's see, we can take out a GCF of a 2. We're left with W squared minus 400. Now that looks like a difference of perfect squares. Check your calculator. I believe the square root of 400 is 20. So W plus 20, W minus 20. Again, this 2, don't need it. We could divide it over to the 0. It's gone. W equals negative 20, W equals 20. Wait a minute. If W stands for the width, how can we have a width that's negative 20 centimeters? Okay, so that doesn't make sense. Throw that one out. So the width is 20, and 2 times 20 will be 40. So my dimensions are 40 centimeters by 20 centimeters. Remember, these are linear distances, so it's centimeters to the first power. Next problem, we have racing numbers. Terry and Jody each entered a boat in the Lakeport race. The racing numbers of their boats are consecutive numbers, one after the other, the product of which is 156. Find the numbers. So consecutive means, like I said, one after the other, and they differ by 1. Like 3 and 4, they're consecutive. 4 minus 3, 1. So what we'll do is we'll call the first number, we're going to call it x. Now, I do know something about the second number. It has to be 1 bigger. We'll call it x plus 1. So there's the first number, there's the second number. It says to multiply it because the product means to multiply. So x times x plus 1 equals 156. Okay, just like those last two examples we were solving where they weren't set equal to 0, we'll distribute the x. X squared plus 1x equals 156. We'll subtract over the 156. Okay, factor time. 1 plus 1 minus, looking for what two numbers multiply to be 156 and subtract to be 1. Well, they got to be right next to each other. So here's what you could do. Grab your calculator. and ask for the square root of 156. Okay, so I'm going to my calculator right now. Second square root 156. It comes out to be 12.489999. Okay, so one number's 12, one number's 13. 13's bigger, carries the plus sign. 12 is the minus sign. X equals negative 13. X is equal to 12. But I don't think your racing numbers are going to be negative, so we'll throw out the x equals negative 13. So x being 12 will be the first number. Then the second racing number will be 13. The product of two consecutive even integers. Even integers now differ by 2. 2 and 4, 4 and 6, 6 and 8. It's also true, put a little note here, if it said odd, odd also differs by 2. So again, your first number is x. Now my second number is 2 bigger, x plus 2. Again, their product, multiply them together, set it equal to 440. Distribute the x squared plus 2x, subtract over the 440 to get it to 0. And again, because 2 is rather small, take the square root of 440. I get 20.97 something, so I have to have an even number. So I'm guessing 20 and probably 22. 22 carries the plus sign, 20 has the minus sign, x equals negative 22, x equals 20. Now, in this particular problem, because they're not representing some real number situation, real world situation, I should say, we have two possible sets of answers. If x were to be negative 22, then negative 22 plus 2 would be negative 20. Both these numbers multiply to be 440. And if we let the first number be 20, and then 20 plus 2, we would have positive integers, 20 and 22. So in more, what you'll probably see is, okay, what are the two negative integers? Put those in, and then they'll ask, what are the two positive integers? Put that in. All right, and that wraps up the second part of the video. We'll look at some more word problems here in the next